Sharon Salzberg and Cameron Sinclair exemplify a world that just might work. Salzberg has played a crucial role in bringing Asian meditation practices to the West, and the ancient Buddhist practices of vipassana, or mindfulness, and metta, or loving kindness, are the foundations of her work. I've done a few other shows on mindfulness lately, but they've dealt primarily with the big picture, the meaning, the benefits of mindfulness. Sharon's new book is more of a how-to. It offers a 28-day program with practical tools to deepen concentration, mindfulness, compassion, creativity, resilience, balance, and it includes a CD with 4 guided meditations. So we'll go more, I think, today into the nuts and bolts of mindfulness in the first half of the show. And then in the second half, Cameron Sinclair's organization, Architecture for Humanity, the nonprofit design firm founded in 1999 by Sinclair and Kate Storr, builds a more sustainable future through the power of professional design. They tap a network of more than 40,000 professionals willing to lend time and expertise to bring design, construction, and development services to those who would not otherwise be able to afford them. Each year, structures designed by Architecture for Humanity directly benefit 10,000 people, while an additional 50,000 are impacted by their advocacy, training, and outreach programs. So first half, Sharon Salzberg on mindfulness and her book, Real Happiness, The Power of Meditation. Second half, Cameron Sinclair, co-founder and CEO, or Chief Eternal Optimist of Architecture for Humanity, and co-author with Kate Storr of Design as If You Gave a Damn. Now, before I introduce Sharon Salzberg, let me just say that one of the ambivalences or mixed feelings that I had coming into this week's show is that when you do a Sunday show, as we do here on Freeforum, and especially when I do sort of a big picture show about eclectic areas and looking really at the long range goals of, as I say, a world that just might work, I book early, I book ahead of time, and I can't keep up with events on the ground. So while part of me wishes I, like Ian and Maria and others, were dealing with the events in Egypt and the Middle East, we're not today. And I want to say that I certainly think those events are of paramount importance in the world. My favorite expert on the Mideast is Robin Wright, and I have been trying to get her on really since last fall, and we'll bring you Robin Wright's perspective in mid-March. Sharon Salzberg has been a student of meditation since 1971 and leading meditation retreats worldwide since 1974. A co-founder of the Insight Meditation Society in Barre, Massachusetts, Sharon is the author of Loving Kindness, The Revolutionary Art of Happiness, A Heart as Wide as the World, Faith, Trusting Your Own Deepest Experience, and co-author with Joseph Goldstein of Insight Meditation, a step-by-step course on how to meditate. And her newest book, as I said, is Real Happiness, The Power of Meditation. Welcome, Sharon Salzberg.
Thank you so much.
Well, good to have you with us. I like listeners to get a feel for the people behind the ideas and the work that we talk about. So let me throw you this one. What might you have done? What might you be doing if you hadn't ended up devoting your life to mindfulness and meditation?
Oh, wow, that's quite something. I think maybe I would have been a writer, but of different kinds of things, but that's almost inconceivable. Wow. Maybe I would have been an architect.
Okay, right, and then we'd have 2 architects on today's show.
Right.
Your website invites people to join in a 28-day meditation challenge. And your book also offers a 28-day program. What is this 28-day meditation challenge? When did it start? And is it too late for listeners to get involved?
It's definitely not too late, and I'm hoping it's going to be an ongoing thing. When the book was designed to be a 4-week program, it wasn't with the idea that after 28 days you were done. But my hope is that after 28 days people would have enough experience in various kinds of meditation so they'd have a real sense of confidence if they chose to go forward. And so we put this challenge on my website hoping to get, and did get, a wide variety of people. So we have 2 firefighters, we have, I think, 2 police officers, a hedge fund investor, a teacher in the Bronx. We have all kinds of people who've committed to going through the program of meditation and writing about it so that we can all share in their experience. And anyone is welcome at this point to join and comment. And as I said, I hope it will be an ongoing thing.
So they go to SHARONSalzberg.com, and that's Sharon, S-H-A-R-O-N, Salzberg, S-A-L-Z-B-E-R-G, one word, SHARONSalzberg.com, and then just look for the meditation challenge or the 28-day challenge. And what you're saying is, one, they can sign up and say, I'm in. The challenge started, on the 1st of February?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they say, I'm in, and then they can blog on the site their experiences in taking on meditation for the next 28 days, and they also can read and comment and so on other people who have joined the same event.
Right. At this point, they're not able to blog, but
Okay.
they can definitely read and comment.
Okay. In other words, you've got your core of initial bloggers, and other folks can join the challenge, read the comments, and feel at least a little bit like they're part of a community rather than taking this on their own.
Oh, definitely. And they can comment. They can
Yeah.
write.
Oh, I see.
And of course, one can write blog-length comments too.
As people do. And one can, in some ways, one can comment much more often than they can blog because it feels like, I'm just going to sit down for a second here.
That's right.
So, what's on the CD? I was very happy to see that. And I will say to listeners, I will talk about this a little bit more, but we're going to play clips from the interview you're listening to right now in a couple of weeks during the fund drive, and we'll have as a premium the book Real Happiness, which includes the CD of 4 guided meditations as well as free tickets to an event that I'll tell you about in a moment. But what's on the CD?
The CD is 4 guided meditations that cover a range of what's also in the book. Some people really like having that voice come in, whose ever voice, and a way of just being reminded. So actually it's got 9 tracks altogether, including loving kindness meditation, meditation on emotions, a few different walking meditations, a few different breathing meditations. And it's really, I think our hardest task in a way is just remembering. We're going along fine, and we're very connected, and we're very mindful, and then we go somewhere else. And to realize that we can start over, that we can begin again, is a difficult thing. And for some people, the CD is a great tool.
Okay, so, and I will say that makes sense to me. In other words, when I drop into a meditation class or something, and rather than being on my own, have someone leading the meditation, it does allow somehow for me a different relationship. I can let go in a different way when I'm giving over to someone else's guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think that's part of what's happened with the challenge too, is that people realize, wow, we have a blog from a firefighter who did his meditation by a manhole in New York City, watching it burn. Because that was the time he had, and people realized through community, through a guide, whatever it might be, that really we're not alone.
Did you see about the recent study about changing brain structures in the brain through meditation?
I did see it.
Okay.
Also, it was the most frequently emailed article for a while on that site.
Wonderful. I'm going to just read the first paragraph and then let you comment on it. The first paragraph of this article, participants in an 8-week mindfulness meditation class experience structural brain changes, including increased gray matter density in the hippocampus, known to be important for learning and memory, and in structures associated with self-awareness, compassion, and introspection. This is the first research to document meditation-produced changes in the brain. And what they point out is that the previous research has identified difference in brain activity between meditators and non-meditators and so on, and we've seen difference in behavior and so on. But what struck you about this study?
Well, I think first of all, the 8 weeks indicates, and the mindfulness-based stress reduction, of course, is John Kabat-Zinn's brainchild, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant form of bringing meditation to people in a very kind of organized way, and extremely accessible. And so that's the one thing. And then, for me, because I've been teaching meditation for over 30 years and have met countless people around the world whose lives are changed. It really seems like this is a whole new language. This is a whole new way of expressing those changes that's scientifically valid, rather than just having those beautiful, heartwarming stories of people's lives and their own personal experience. This is the language of our time, and so here it is. We have a way of saying it that makes sense in this world.
Very good. That's the voice of Sharon Salzberg. I'm going to read a quote from you. When we practice meditation, we discover the treasures of concentration, mindfulness, and compassion. We see that these are actual skills that can be cultivated, not gifts that some people have while others don't. And if you don't have much of any of them, you're just out of luck. There are real and practical trainings that can nourish and develop these skills. Speak to that, if you would.
Well, concentration, first of all, is really the training in being more present. In a way, it's like gathering our normally scattered and distracted attention and energy and steadying it, bringing it together. And most of us feel we can use that. It also has the effect of having us feel less fragmented and less divided. It's the way our lives can be so compartmentalized. I think my favorite quotation of that was a student I was teaching once in this class in New York, and she raised her hand and she said, "I feel filled with loving kindness and compassion for all beings everywhere as long as I'm alone. But once I'm with others..." And we can be that way, or we can be the other way, very connected and fine when we're with others and very ill at ease being alone. So one of the great boons of concentration is bringing all those aspects of our lives together so we feel integrated. And mindfulness, of course, is refining our awareness so it's not so laden with relics of the past or projection into the future, like what's this painful thing going to be like in 10 minutes, in 20 minutes, in 40 minutes. And we can more see things as they actually are and have the opportunity. It's like creating a platform to investigate, to go into the heart of our experience. And one of the interesting things and provocative things is actually calling compassion a skill, because here many people have some difficulty thinking of it that way. We do tend to think of compassion either as a gift or as just a kind of spontaneous emotional reaction, but from the point of view of meditation, it's definitely a skill that can be learned as we learn to pay attention in a different way. So you think about all those people maybe we look right through, we overlook, they don't count to us, they are the other, not even through antipathy or prejudice, but just indifference. And so we train ourselves to actually look at them, to actually see them, and that's the beginning of compassion.
So now that's interesting. In other words, you're not saying that it's a training of, feel a certain way, and that will help you be more compassionate, which may or may not work, and maybe what religion does in some instances. But what you're saying is that the mere practice of being more aware, seeing more what's in your presence, will change the way you feel and respond to others, or can?
Yes, definitely, because I think it's not just noticing, but it's noticing with insight or wisdom. It's understanding that, this person's life might have something to do with mine, that we actually live in an interconnected universe, that as alone as I might feel or cut off, or as much as I might relegate someone else to kind of that other side of the line, when I actually pay attention and notice, we see that, actually our lives are more like a network. In fact, there's more bringing us together, and we affect one another. It really is an interrelated universe.
And by the way, science is backing this up as well. And I don't know that we have time to go into it in this brief interview, but a show that I will do in a few weeks with Tom Shadyac about his new documentary, I Am, includes some research on how it is very clear that we are more connected than we may have thought we were in our rational picture of the world.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Let me say, am I correct in saying about this new book, Real Happiness, The Power of Meditation, that it is more of a how-to? And talk just a little bit about that, about what you set out to do with this book, and so listeners can get a sense of how it might work for them or how it might fit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a friend who is very instrumental in helping bring mindfulness practice into the classroom. So she was actually my inner censor. She was my litmus test. I wanted the language and the presentation to be something that she would pass in terms of saying, this can go out into the mainstream. This is something that is really incredibly inclusive, that no one needs to feel left out, that they don't understand the jargon, or that this is like a little weird or a little fringe, that this is really something that can be taken into people's everyday lives, very regular people. And so that was really my intention in writing the book.
Now, one thing I noticed in Real Happiness, Power of Meditation, Sharon, is the FAQs, which really seems to me to be helpful. I'm just turning to what I find one of the very first. I find it very hard to concentrate on my breath. Am I doing something wrong? When I try to meditate, I become so conscious of the breath that I almost hyperventilate. I really can't stop thinking when I meditate. Isn't meditation supposed to get rid of thoughts? Talk a little bit about how you chose the FAQs and how they might be helpful to someone who is either new to this or just, kind of trying to take it to the next level.
Well, this really is the fruit of my many years of teaching meditation, where people really do express these kinds of questions, and a lot of them have to do with that question of inclusion, like, can I do this? Is this something I'm capable of with my background, my life, my pressures, whatever it might be? And a lot of the problem is really the kinds of assumptions that we make, like, I have to stop thinking, I have to have only positive thoughts, they have to be only beautiful thoughts. Oh, no, I'm having a nasty thought, I failed. Or my mind wandered, that's no good. And really none of that is true, because we say at essence that meditation is about relationship. It's about how we're relating to our experience, not about trying to destroy certain parts of our experience or only have positive experiences. It's all about a transformed relationship. And so I chose the questions really to reflect a lot of that, and to try, it's like it makes it an alive experience, because they came from real people. Those are real questions that came through, and we transcribed and then edited. And so it's like being in the presence of all these people.
Very good. Yeah, like they're over your shoulder saying, "Hey, don't forget this part, Sharon."
Yeah.
Right. I can imagine. In other words, this is something that has been part of your life for almost 30 years, and so one could be forgiven for taking certain things for granted. So I think, as another writer, I can imagine that makes it very easy to not skip steps 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Let me ask one last question of my own, and then I'm going to actually spend the next, we've got about 5-6 minutes, asking you some of the questions from the book. The one that I always find fascinating is that I think that some people would think, or do think, that when what we're talking about is a practice, that by practice they mean this is the thing where you sit for 10 minutes or 20 minutes once or twice a day in a certain kind of position, and you do something very specific like focus on the breath, or there are other practices, of course, focus on a candle or focus on your body, etc., etc. What I've learned over the years in my own experience and from talking to folks like yourself, Jack Kornfield, and so on, is mindfulness includes the practice of meditation, but it is an approach that can be with us waiting in line at the bank, waiting in line at the DMV, waiting in traffic, waiting on hold, etc.
Oh, that's absolutely true. And in a way, one of the reasons that I like using the breath as an anchor, or the body, although, as you say, there are countless ways of meditating. One of the reasons I like the breath and the body is because, as one of my early teachers said, they're very portable. And so we spend that 10 or 20 minutes a day, almost like the training period, and then we more easily remember when we're online at the bank, or we're sitting in a metro or a bus or something like that. It comes back to us because we have trained that very day.
That's interesting. You know what I just, as a metaphor kind of, if we do a sort of physical training, whatever it is, go to the gym, do yoga and so on, we do that in those specified times, but we still want to walk correctly, breathe correctly, lift things correctly in the course of our regular lives.
Oh, yeah, and I think if you do that physical training, you will have that much more bodily awareness, so that as you're getting in that weird position to lift something, something says,
Yeah.
out of alignment, so it's kind of like that.
Okay, Sharon Salzberg is my guest. We've got a few more minutes. We're talking about her new book, Real Happiness, The Power of Meditation, which includes a CD of guided meditations. And the book is very how-to, in a sense, and has frequently asked questions. So here's one. When I meditate, I'm very antsy. Then I start beating myself up for it, which just makes my restlessness worse. What can I do?
Well, the first answer has got to be, you don't really need to beat yourself up for it. That kind of antsiness or restlessness we just talk about as energy, and that's the positive side of it. There may not be enough calm or concentration to balance it, but the energy itself is good. And so, first of all, don't blame yourself for it. And then second, try to see it more accurately. And then see what will help you get more concentrated and more grounded. And, that might mean get up and walk. Do walking meditation or do a movement meditation. Maybe do movement meditation before you sit down. Sometimes that energy is really, we're helped a lot by trying to create a big space. Like just listen to sound, listen to the sounds all around you. And then that really big energy, which is trying to move through you, has some space to move in, things like that.
Wonderful. Yeah, one thing I hear is that if you're new to it, or if you feel like you're not doing it well, you may. I think it's a tendency to go to what we think are the rules or the structures. And part of what you're saying is it's a much freer practice than that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, because it's also one of the great principles of meditation practice is the idea of balance, that if we can bring our system into greater balance, the things we want, like insight and compassion and so on, will emerge. And so balance always looks different for us at different times. And sometimes we're trying too hard, and we would benefit by just relaxing. Sometimes we really aren't trying hard enough, and we don't care at all, and we need to come forward a little and engage. And so there are ways of doing all of that.
Okay, here's someone who had the question, which is the opposite of the antsy question, which is, how do I keep from nodding off in meditation?
Well, I'd start the same place. Don't blame yourself. This is very natural. And certainly, actually, in terms of both of them, both kind of restlessness and sleepiness, sometimes when we sit down to meditate, we discover how tired we are.
That we hadn't been paying attention. Yeah.
That's right. And so we might see a wealth of fatigue that's been piling up. So it's quite natural. And here we just try to build more energy. One of the things that, aside from purely mechanical things like maybe open your eyes or something like that, one of the things we talk about is this question of aim. Sometimes, say with the breath, we're not just aiming all of our attention at this very breath. We're trying to be with this breath and the next 50. And so we're very disempowered in that way. And so what we try to remind ourselves is just this one breath, just this one moment. And somehow doing that actually lifts our energy.
Okay, and this, I was just leafing through, looking for one that was like what I wanted to say, and I found it, which is, I was going to say, something like walking meditation may be new to people. So I'd like you to talk, or meditation while eating, right? These sorts of things. So the question that I found in the book is, I find walking practice much easier than sitting, but is walking real meditation?
Yes, walking is real meditation. I mean, this is a lot of what you were talking about before, trying to bring mindfulness into activities that we normally might do very mechanically, really oblivious to our experience, like certainly walking or moving is, often done getting from one place to another with an intention on the other end. And so we might go along just consumed with thinking about the meeting we're going to and everything we're going to say and then what they're going to say and then what we're going to say and miss everything along the way. So we just come back into the body, bring our attention, say, to the sensation of our feet on the ground if we're actually walking, or our body in movement, whatever it might be, and use that as an anchor, not an exclusive focus, not a tight focus, but a way of being grounded and in the moment as we're aware of everything going on around us.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought of there is that, and this is going slightly beyond mindfulness, but I noticed that if I take some time to be mindful, be aware, and not be planning all the time, I in fact may end up at that meeting in a better frame of mind than if I spend all the time on the way to that meeting focusing on my plan, my strategy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. And it's finding new ways to be creative. in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Let me ask you one last one, and then I think I got to let you go. Sometimes it's recommended that we just stay with whatever feeling arises. Other times I hear we can change those feelings by walking in nature or relaxation. It's confusing.
It can be confusing. Here I'd come back to what I was saying before, that everything depends on how we're relating to something. And so if we feel that we're interested in our emotional life at the moment, and we have some good balance, we have some good perspective, we may not choose to change things or alter things. But if we feel just dragged out, we have no energy or no interest, it's too much or whatever it is, then it's a very healthy thing to shift gears and bring more balance into our being by going out in nature or taking a walk or listening to soothing music or doing something that will just shift our inner landscape, so that when we are then again looking at that particular emotion, it's with more resourcefulness and more energy.
Very good. So the book, again, is Real Happiness, The Power of Meditation. The website is SharonSalzberg.com. I will spell that SHARON SALZBERG.com. The site to learn more about Sharon's appearance in L.A. the morning of February 26th is insightla, one word, .org.